they look at sport and see it as such a male-dominated field. They don't feel like it's for them.
And women and females have been marginalised massively in sport.
All well and good delivering stuff, but you need sustainability, you need that depth. I was a girl that thought I couldn't, but I can.
Campaigns to encourage women are constantly being released in a last-ditch attempt to improve the number of women taking part in sport. Numerous campaigns are being created locally and nationally, but are they really working? The amount of barriers preventing women from taking part in sport are constantly increasing, but the question is, what are campaigns doing to stop this from happening? This film will be investigating whether the millions of pounds spent on funding and new campaigns are really doing their job to help keep women active. Women's participation in sport has been recognised as something that needs to be changed and improved. A leading charity in women's sport, the Women's Sport and Fitness Foundation, identified that women in the UK would like to get more active, but having the wherewithal or opportunity is often overlooked. Studies have been carried out in order to begin to recognise why women aren't as active and how the findings can be used to benefit women in the future. Research has shown that in October last year, only 10% of televised coverage featured women and 2% of newspaper stories, as fulfilled by Women's Sport and Fitness Foundation. It went on to say that women represent 40% of all athletes, but receive only 7% of media coverage. However, 60% of sports fans would like to see more women's sport on TV. It also showed that by the age of 14, girls are dropping out of sports at twice the rate than boys are. Sport England has identified the main barriers to participation by women in sport as practical, lifestyle, personal, and emotional barriers.
A lot of my friends were really sporty as well, but I can see now, looking back, how some young girls might find it a bit difficult to get involved in sport. Perhaps, the media tends to focus on men in sport, boys doing sport, so it's not so much of a focus for girls. I'd say that's probably about 16 years old, 15, 16 years old, where maybe people feel like they can't be bothered, or perhaps they're concerned about their body image by that stage, something like that, or even maybe it's not an interest of theirs anymore, and because they don't have to do it anymore, so they're choosing not to. Because that's also something to bear in mind, that maybe not everybody wants to do sport, even though it's sort of quite linked into fitness and health and that kind of thing, but perhaps it's just not an interest of theirs either.
Women's unwillingness to take part in sport can begin as early as when a child is still in school. A recent study published in the British Medical Journal found that only 38% of 7-year-old girls were achieving the recommended amount of physical activity compared to 63% of boys. The head of PE at St Paul's Academy believes that they do all they can to prevent any sort of decline in participation within school in order to benefit them later in life.
It's a society-based issue as opposed to just something that's related to just schools in general. I think more so than anything else, whether we like it or not, the way that media representation of females are in sport, a lot of the time isn't always positive. It's not necessarily down to just media. Again, I go back to a society-based issue. I feel for us as a school, it's something that we look to try and buck the trend with, but we know we're fighting a battle with that. We understand as well that females, whether you like it or not, they have to their public image and their self-image is so important to them. Constantly in the magazines, constantly in the media, as I said before, they've been shown that they have to look a certain shape and they need to look a certain way. Now, if they don't fit into that bracket, naturally that might make them feel like, is sport something for them if it's going to detract from their image. Do they want to be perceived a certain way by their peers, whether it's other females, alternatively by other boys as well? So whether we like it or not, we have a huge part and a role to play in terms of shaping that, and more importantly, going back to the key word of the education, making sure that we educate them to understand that you know, it's about them getting involved in something that they can sustain and be more importantly healthy.
Schools play a huge role in a woman's relationship with sport and exercise, and one bad memory can affect them for life. Could elite athletes make a difference in encouraging more women to take up sport? Women Ahead is an organisation that strives to inspire women through sports and business using elite athletes.
Someone like Chrissy Wellington is an elite athlete. She was a 4-time world champion, yet she has managed to inspire huge numbers of people, even though she's an elite athlete. You know, her work with Parkrun and her various campaigns that she has been sort of spearheading have been enormously successful. So I think whilst there are themes around the barriers and opportunities for participation in women's sport, I think there isn't one right answer, and I think campaigns need to sing to those different agendas. And I think there is a mixed, so with This Girl Can, I think that really inspires some, but won't inspire some others. So I speak to some women that want to see elite athletes, they want to see women achieving and being at their absolute physical best and being at their peak, and that will inspire some.
But not everybody is of the same opinion. Even some elite athletes themselves believe that women need to be encouraged by their peers as opposed to the perfectly toned athletes we see on TV.
Campaigns like This Girl Can be really effective, because what you're seeing are very normal women going out there and wanting to get fit and not caring about the society pressures that come with that. You know, whether your hair looks good, whether you feel good in your swimming suit, how you look without your makeup on. These are all the things that I think that women, they see as barriers, which they shouldn't. So This Girl Can is something that you can really push forward and push out to all women of all ages to go out there and to try and get fit. And there are no figures yet to say how many women have seen a This Girl That Can advertisement and gone out to the pool, but I suspect that when those figures do come out, you know, you're going to see an increase, and it will be an effective campaign as well. It set off a trend. Loads of people were tweeting about it. It was really positive to see women, very ordinary women, going out there trying different things and not feeling a way about it. That was quite important. It's not always about being inspired by Jessica Ennis-Hill or, you know, the latest female footballer. It's about ordinary women trying to get out there and do things properly. And, you know, Us Girls Rock and other initiatives locally as well are great ways of getting women involved in sport. You know, get on your bike, get in the pool, get in the park, and just really go out there and try and make it work.
Locally, a lot can be done to help women and offer them the support that has been missing. Sports England, one of the main funders in women's sport, works with local partners to ensure that programmes are accessible across every region. But how effectively is the money being used, and are campaigns really doing the job that's required?
We try, and a lot of our projects try and make it so it's just easy for them to come to. So no commitments, just literally turn up. You don't have to try and keep it low cost. Try and make it so it's accessible, so it's either on their doorstep, like the Moving Mums, it's there, it's ready, you know, you don't have to drive anywhere, get anywhere. And the We Move, She Moves, so that project started over in Hertsmere January last year, so we've actually kind of been going a year and a bit now with that one, and the idea of that is getting funding from Sport England, and it's to get, we've got 3 years worth of funding to get more women and girls active in the whole of Hertsmere, so from 14 upwards. So literally we've got lots of different activities, lots of different things going on, and it's just, big project, big campaign.
Locally, coaches are doing all they can to help support women by giving them a range of different sports. Mums with Buggies is an example that helps women overcome a barrier which might once have prevented them from taking part.
We use This Girl Can all the time with this programme, the Me Time programme. I think it's fantastic to show women and girls that you don't have to be this body beautiful to join in. In actual fact, that's not the people who we're targeting at all. You can be if you want to be, which is fantastic. But we want to show all girls and women that just a little bit of something is better than nothing at all, and it does have an impact. So I think with programmes like this, it's essential that Sport England keep coming up with these initiatives for towns like Luton to capitalise on them and get more women of the local areas healthy and fit, and to unite it with This Girl Can, which is a national, something we can all feed into and say we're part of this as well. Without their funding for this project, we would really struggle to get the quality of the coaches out there, to pay for the venues, to develop workforce development. So all of the potential leaders that we see outside, we can put them onto courses, we can develop local strength within the community, netball coaches, swim teachers, etc. So when this programme's finished or reduces, there is a a longer impact on the community, because it's all well and good delivering stuff, but you need sustainability.
When you become a mum, everything is very, very mummy orientated, but out here they are themselves. They've gone back to being Zoe, Jess, whoever. The babies, as you saw, can get out their buggies, we get some balls out, so they have a play as well. It's all interacting, it's interacting with other mums, and I do believe that it's beneficial for both.
Mums who attended this session have nothing but praise for how this class has affected them.
I really enjoyed it actually, especially when it's nice weather. It's really good to get out, bring the babies out and get exercise as well, keep fit.
It does, because they take up a lot of your time, so you have less time, because all your time's dedicated to them, so yeah, definitely.
However, it isn't just locally that programmes have tried to help get women into sports. Recently, Sport England have set up a nationwide campaign called This Girl Can to get women and girls moving regardless of shape, size and ability. It was released in January this year when Sport England spent a huge £10 million on advertising, using everyday women like Sam to launch their campaign.
I think it resonates with ordinary people. I wouldn't like to say the word normal, because we're all normal in our own way. I think Sport England have marketed it really well. It's catchy, it's fun. I'd just like to point out as well that Missy Elliott track is the first time that she's ever allowed any of her music to be used for a commercial purpose. So people, high profile people, have backed it and support it.
Sport England's research has shown that millions of women and girls don't exercise because they don't want to, but because they are afraid of the fear of judgment. 14 million people have now viewed the flagship This Girl Can film online, and the success is set to continue and inspire.
I've got first-hand experience of more women coming along and running, and I think that is a direct result of This Girl Can. When I exercise, I actually find it really hard, but it's how I feel afterwards, and that's what I keep going back for more of, because I love that feeling.
CEO of Sport England, Jenny Price, said, "The figures on participation are crystal clear. There is a significant gender gap. I believe we can tackle this gap because our research shows that 75% of women would like to do more."
This Girl Can is about encouraging women to put aside their fears of judgment, because that's the research that Sport England did, was fear of judgment holds women back. So hopefully what the campaign did was show just ordinary everyday women, I'm not an athlete, I'm not particularly slim, but I go out there and try and not worry about what other people think, because I judge myself probably more than anybody else judges me. The fears of judgment there, it's around ability, whether we're good enough. So if we're not already good, it's hard to get started. It's about judging on our appearance and what happens to our bodies. We do get hot and we do sweat. I think it's great. And then being judged for spending time away from your family and spending time on yourself. But actually, I think doing that, I'm setting a great example for my kids that it's great to look after yourself.
Ultimately, campaigns have been able to provide a service for women that they may not have been able to get elsewhere. Sport England, alongside other sponsorships, spend millions of pounds on funding every year. And this money is put to good use and aims to give as many opportunities to women as possible. Research has started to identify the barriers that women face, and this can now be used to tailor campaigns to a woman's needs. And hopefully, with the continued research and funding, campaigns will have the ability to defeat these barriers.
For me, if I keep running, I'm always going to say This Girl Can. I was a girl that thought I couldn't, but I can.